So West Brom have appointed Allardyce. It is now official, which is exactly what my colleague Rob Dorset said about 3/4 of an hour or so ago. Rob, we knew this was coming. All we needed was the I to be dotted and the T's to be crossed. Allardyce is in. What's your take on it?
It's a big move. It's a brave move by West Bromwich Albion. It's upset one or two of their supporters because Slaven Bilić was hugely popular as a manager here. And of course, he probably achieved his most successful result and best performance, certainly of this season, at the Etihad last night, and then coming back from a goal down to draw 1-1 at Manchester City. But it's been made very clear to me today that West Bromwich Albion's bosses have taken this decision after a long period of thought and with a view of what's happened over the last year or so. Only one win in their last 17 league games, taking in the last few league games of the Championship season. And so they don't believe that was good enough. It's not a decision they've taken lightly. It's not a decision they've taken quickly. But we've got the statement, as you say, from West Bromwich Albion now confirming Sam Allardyce taking over as the new head coach, by the way, not manager. So that would suggest that he's going to have maybe less influence over transfer dealings. But it is his 8th job as the top man of a different Premier League club. Huge achievement that from Sam Allardyce after 2.5 years away. It's 2.5 years out of football since he left his role at Everton, and it's quite extraordinary. We didn't know if we'd see him back in management. He made it very clear it would have to be a job that he was passionate about and tempted by to make that step to come back. Clearly West Bromwich Albion is that. He was born in Dudley, just down the road from here, and he started his coaching career at West Bromwich Albion 1989 it was, over 30 years ago, when he was player assistant manager under Brian Talbot. Only played once for West Bromwich Albion, but he was here for 2 years as assistant manager, and that's where it all started for Sam Allardyce. He's now back on his own as the main man, and we've heard from the sporting and technical director Luke Dowling, the man who really had to make this decision. His quote is, "In Sam, we have a man who has a proven Premier League pedigree with a track record of improving every club he has managed. We believe, and more importantly, Sam believes, we have a group of players that have the quality needed to give the club its best chance of Premier League survival." And that's key here. West Bromwich Albion's bosses and investors are sick and tired of them being the yo-yo club, the boing-boing baggies, the club that gets promoted to the Premier League and then drops out, has maybe 1 or 2 seasons in the top flight and then 1 or 2 seasons in the Championship. In Sam Allardyce, in giving him an 18-month contract, they believe he can stabilise the club and keep them in the Premier League this season as they look to grow next season.
That was interesting, Rob, the quote you read out from the technical director, and the word survival being mentioned by him. So even the hierarchy at West Brom are fully aware of the predicament they are in as we approach Christmas.
Absolutely. They're second bottom of the Premier League. They've won 1 game in 13 in the Premier League. That was against Sheffield United, the only team that's below them, back on November the 28th. But crucially, a lot of West Bromwich Albion supporters and Slaven Bilić, I think, if he was here now alongside me, would tell you that performances have been better than results in the Premier League so far. They felt a little bit aggrieved. They think they've never been hammered by any of the teams they've come up against, and so the quality is there. What West Brom believe they've got in Sam Allardyce is a man who can bring that quality to the fore, who can galvanise and organise that team, and his record is absolutely extraordinary. Let me bring you 1 or 2 of these. I said it just a moment ago, never been relegated in 7 jobs in the Premier League. One of those was at Crystal Palace in 2016 when he took over there. They'd won only 1 of their first 11 Premier League games. And he took over just before Christmas. That sounds very similar to the task he's facing here at West Bromwich Albion, doesn't it? How did he get on? He kept them up with 1 game to go. Similarly, the year before at Sunderland, he took over in 2015 with the club 19th in the Premier League. That's exactly where West Bromwich Albion are now, and they survived on the final day of the season with huge celebrations. So he's been there and he's done it, Sam Allardyce. What West Brom are getting is a hugely experienced manager, a hugely experienced coach who they believe will keep them in this division, and that is absolutely crucial. There's no room for sentiment here. Everybody likes Slaven Bilić around the football club, and that includes the supporters and, crucially, the players. The players put on a performance for him at the Etihad last night. There was no sense that he'd lost the dressing room at all. He was hugely liked amongst the media and everybody who came into contact with him. An entertaining, honest and effusive man. But there was no room for sentiment. This was about pure economics. This was about purely West Bromwich Albion making a professional decision that they felt was in the best interests of keeping the club in the Premier League. And as a result of that, they've gone for the tried and tested. They've gone for a man who's been there and done it at every single club he's been at. Now we wait to see whether he can perform that miracle again and maintain that record, that proud record that Sam Allardyce has of never being relegated from the Premier League, despite being with 7 clubs and taking over the vast majority of them when they were in a relegation battle.
Rob, terrific. Thanks very much. Rob Dorsett there with the very latest. And now it's official. Allardyce is in at West Brom. He'll face a tough start, as Rob said, when he gets back into management, because Aston Villa at the Hawthorns is followed by a trip to Anfield. That's followed by games against Leeds and Arsenal before the Black Country derby against Wolves.